Ford Field feels like a V6 tonight, with fresh intel, sharp tape, and a plan that actually respects the clock we're playing on. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, your trusted home for updated news and real rumors about our beloved Detroit Lions, delivered with the same urgency we ask of our pass rush on 3rd and 7. Here's the briefing up front, clean and fast. I'm going to show you why the next edge who makes sense for Detroit isn't a panic buy or a jersey grab. It's a calculated lever that changes protection math for Aiden Hutchinson, stabilizes our sub packages, and gives Aaron Glenn a way to manufacture pressure without emptying the secondary. Stay with me to the end because the name lands when the blueprint is clear and the price makes football sense, not just headlines. Start with our reality. This defense has grown up, retooling its identity from bend and hope to bend and bite, and we've built that on discipline at the second level and a front that wins more snaps than it loses. But you and I both know what January football demands: closing power off the edge that steals a possession on schedule. Hutchinson is playing like the bully everyone promised, setting edges, hunting with counters, winning with both hands, and there's a reason offenses have started calling protections with his number in mind. When teams slide to him and chip from his side, you need the opposite edge to punish that arrogance, or else the ball keeps coming out on time and you play a long day of almost. Injuries and week-to-week shuffling have forced us into creative fronts, reduced ends, inside-out snaps, simulated pressure. But the longest month of the year is coming, and the NFC isn't waiting for us to get healthy. That's why you felt the drumbeat from front office chatter to fan threads. Give Hutch a true bookend who doesn't need a month of onboarding, one who can walk into the room and understand what win on 3 means in this system. And now, the heartbeat of the rumor I've been tracking, stamped in tape and cat math, not message board adrenaline. Boye Mafe of the Seattle Seahawks. Before I tell you why the fit is honest, I want to remind you what the player actually is, not just the jersey. A 6'4", 260-ish pound edge with enough first-step charge to stress vertical sets, a balanced rush plan built around speed to power, long arm leverage, and inside counters, and the kind of straight-line closing burst that turns pressures into drive killers. This isn't projection theater. His second season in Seattle announced a real jump, with a franchise record streak of sacks in 7 straight games that told you he wasn't just playing hot, he was stacking wins with technique and timing. Through 2024, he kept adding tools: 6 sacks, sturdier edges against outside zone, better control at the top of the arc. And then, 2025 shifted on him under Mike Macdonald. More simulated pressure, heavier rotation, fewer true feature snaps, and a production dip that looks more situational than structural. That's the kind of context good teams buy low on. The athlete didn't change, the usage did, and the film still shows a rusher who forces tackles to play honest. Now zoom out to the business layer, because if you want to talk like a contender, you have to speak CBA. Mafe is in year 4 of a second-round rookie deal, which means no 5th-year option on the books, cap hit that barely scratches the paint this season, and a real decision coming in the spring. Extend, tag, or let the market test him. Over the cap's valuation on his 2025 performance sits miles above his actual hit, which tells you 2 things at once. He's cost-controlled today and poised to be paid tomorrow. For Seattle, that's a fork in the road. Either you re-up a homegrown edge or you trade the expiring leverage for picks and pieces that match your timeline. And just so we're not pretending, the Seahawks' own deadline dance this week tells you they're not afraid to restructure their front if the offer matches value, which is where Brad Holmes and this front office's style matters. Opportunistic, not reckless. Allergic to overpays that mortgage 2 windows to fix 1 Sunday. So how does Mafe unlock the version of Detroit we keep talking about in June? Start with how he changes protections. If you align him in a wide 9 opposite Hutchinson and force the back to declare early, you get a lot of free information pre-snap. And from there, Glenn can dress it up. Spin the safety late to bait the quick throw, mug a backer inside to force the guard's eyes away from the stunt, and then hit a TEXE with Mafe as the looper into the soft shoulder of the right tackle. On early downs, he has the anchor to wrong arm pullers when we're in our underfronts, and the foot speed to fold inside when the tackle oversets, which is how you turn 2nd and 5 into 3rd and 8 without selling the house. In 2-minute, the package really sings. Put Hutchinson as the interior penetrator to drag the center's help, slide Mafe to the open side with a wide split, walk a linebacker into the A-gap to freeze the guard, and now the quarterback is reading ghosts while our corners sit on the first break. This is the kind of addition that doesn't just give you more pressure, it gives you a menu that makes coordinators chase you instead of the other way around. And if you want specifics from my calls in the numbers, Hutchinson's win rate is elite and climbing, but every chart says the same thing. When we can force true dropbacks without immediate hot answers, our EPA swings are top tier. The missing piece is punishing slide and chip teams with a finisher on the backside who can win clean in 2.7 seconds. And Mafe has shown over an entire season that he can get home in that window. This is also a locker room move that fits our culture. Mafe's rep is work-first, low-drama draft and development success story, the kind of profile Dan Campbell sells to the room in 3 sentences. From a stamina standpoint, he's built to play 45 snaps without losing juice, which matters here. This defense runs, and your edges have to own the fourth quarter, not survive it. Let's talk price, because that's the hinge, not the highlight reel. I'm told the discussion starts at a day 2 pick with conditions that can escalate based on snaps or sacks, and the Seahawks will push for either a young, controllable depth piece in the front or pick sweeteners across years. Detroit's flexibility lies in the fact that you're not inheriting a bloated number. You're adding the remainder of a cheap year and deciding on a new deal when it's your timeline, not someone else's panic. If the ask climbs into first-round territory, I think Holmes holds his line unless protections trigger. Top 20 pick becomes your hard stop unless the conditions move the cost into 2027 and beyond. Strategy-wise, I'd frame the offer with a 2026 day 2 base, plus a conditional bump if a playoff sack threshold is hit, protecting our core picks while paying for production that actually wins January. The football upside is obvious, but it's the ripple that sells it. With 2 legitimate edges, Hutchinson stops living in a phone booth. Aleen McNeil and DJ Reader see cleaner one-on-ones. Your simulateds hit faster, and your back end gets to play to tendencies instead of plugging gashes. The analytics back it up. Teams with 2 edges who individually command chips increase takeaways and lower explosive passes strictly by changing the quarterback's internal clock. That's not theory. That's tape and time. And if you're worried about scheme fit, remember this. Mafe's best stretches came in fronts that asked him to win from wide alignments and transition speed into power without freelance chaos. That's exactly how Glenn teaches the edge here. Attack with a plan, arrive with violence, finish with balance. I can already hear the counter. Why not wait for March and money instead of picks and now? Because windows don't open politely in this league. If you're serious about controlling December, you upgrade the one job that steals drives without rewriting the playbook. You saw what happened the last 2 weeks when teams threw everything at 97 and dared someone else to be a problem. Detroit still dictated games, but the hours were heavy. This move lightens the load and raises your ceiling. And because we stay honest here, the risk column is simple. You're buying a dip year on the stat sheet and trusting your evaluation that the usage change is the variable, not the player. Final analysis, concise and clean. If the price stays in day 2 territory with fair conditions and the medicals match our durability profile, I would move for Mafe now to maximize Hutchinson's dominance and stabilize our rush menu before the schedule turns icy. If Seattle inflates the market into first-round capital without protections, I hold and ride internal growth, because this team has earned the right to be aggressive without getting reckless. Now it's your turn. Drop your take below. Would you pull the trigger on Mafe at a conditional day 2 price, or would you hold for March and spend cap instead of picks? Who's your closing 4 on 3rd and long if he lands in Detroit? Hutchinson and Mafe wide with McNeil and Reader inside? Or do you kick Hutch to a 3-tech and put a speed package on the field? I'll be in the comments like always, breaking down your lineup ideas and cap constructions. And if this kind of grounded, fast, and fearless breakdown is your speed, smash that like, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, ring that bell for instant updates, and share this with the diehard in your text thread. Because when the phone buzzes with a Detroit alert, you'll want to know what it really means before anyone else.